This is the Out of Time Film Podcast, where your hosts Tom and John discuss everything from blockbuster films to TV and games like there's no tomorrow.
Hello and welcome to the Out of Time Film Podcast. My name is Tom and as always I'm joined with my co-host John, and this week we're talking about Star Wars Visions Volume 2.
Yeah,
Woohoo.
baby. Yeah. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm not bad. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, just very excited to talk about this.
Me
Just been
too.
watching Visions all week. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. This one was really good. So, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I mean, always love talking about Star Wars. I've actually watched this twice. So this is going to be a little bit different to normal weeks because obviously each episode is different. And so, as always, full spoilers ahead. We'll talk about it a little bit as a whole and then we'll do each episode individually. So let's just start with, what did you think of the season as a whole?
So this season was promoting as, you see different animation studios because, in the first one, you got those famous studios. So like Studio Trigger, who did Cyberpunk Edgerunners, and then there was others that I realized in that one, like the Samurai Black and White one with the first episode. I loved that one. That was a great one. Yeah. So cool. They had some really cool elements in the first season, like, they explored different aspects of Star Wars, their interpretation of Star Wars, and I really liked that. But this one was just so pleasing to watch. It was just so nice to see different aspects of animation in there, like, stop motion animation, different styles, and you got 3D ones, 2D. Yeah, it was just so nice to watch different countries' studio animations. It was just really nice to see, different cultures, different interpretations of Star Wars in their shorts. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this one's so much vaster than Volume 1. Volume 1, so many of the studios are from Japan, and you really get a great look at how Japan sees Star Wars. And I know that it's not exclusively Japan, but this season we're going all over the place. We've got just to kind of list a few, we've got Spain, Ireland, Chile, United Kingdom, South Korea. Like, it really is just going so far. And as you're saying, we're seeing different cultures take on Star Wars. And I would say this whole season has such pure Star Wars themes of battling against good and evil, standing up against oppression, letting love into your life. The idea that no one has ever truly gone, seeing those themes expressed in different art styles from different countries and cultures. It's taking the next step from Visions Volume 1, and it's incredible. This is what Star Wars is and what it should be, and I hope that genuinely we keep getting seasons of Visions from creators all over the world.
It's so cool. Just give studio animation so much creativity, their interpretation of Star Wars, and hopefully in the future we get to see a Star Wars anime. That would be really cool.
Just like a whole series. Yeah, that would be great.
The whole series. Yeah, that would be really cool. That. Oh, man. But anyway, should we get into each episode of Visions?
Yeah, first of all, I want to give one point. I feel like this is like my only kind of criticism for the whole thing, and I feel it applies more for the whole thing than it does in general. But obviously, all episodes dropped at once. They all dropped on May the 4th, and this is very much kind of like a show that is intended to binge, and I did binge it. I watched it all in like an afternoon, and I feel like that was kind of a mistake. I had to rewatch every episode again so I could truly soak in the themes and stuff. And this is classic binge model. This is something that I've studied at my university, and I feel like sometimes the binge model doesn't work for these kinds of things. And I genuinely think that potentially a weekly model would have worked better, getting each episode one step at a time. I think that's just something that did hinder my experience a little bit, and rewatching them all really, really helped. So,
well, I didn't rewatch it. So...
Okay, right. So you took it in. That's good.
Yeah. Binge model that exists.
It does exist, yeah. So I did a module at university all about TV.
I
wrote an essay about the Clone Wars, and it was really fascinating because a lot of it was talking about streaming and about binging and about the different ways that we consume TV. And I think it's very interesting. And I'm somebody who always prefers a weekly model than a binge model.
Yeah, weekly is pretty cool. You get away. You feel like, yes, I consumed so much, so please, I'll wait a week and just watch.
I do love a binge though. Who doesn't love a binge? I do think that certain shows work better for a binge than others.
Yeah, if the pacing's really good because you're watching.
Yeah. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. Let's talk about each episode. I want to start with Sith, first episode by El Guiri from Spain.
Nice.
What did you think of Sith?
a great way to start off this, different interpretations of Star Wars or, different animation styles. This one was really cool. It was 3D animation, and each episode in Star Wars Visions have like, their own story. They have like a viewpoint of Star Wars. With Sith, it was a really interesting story about a former Sith who finds their peaceful life being threatened by this other Sith as well, and it was like this battle. But this other interesting aspect was, the colors. The color scheme was just so pretty. It reminded me of Spider-Verse in a good way, because you can tell like how much influence they took from that, and I thought it was really, really cool. What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, painting isn't really a common concern in Star Wars stories, but I think seeing it here, it makes me realize that it's so intrinsically Star Wars, the way that light is used and dark is used, how the two are balanced, how emotion is so integral to it. You can always count on Visions to show a different angle of classic Star Wars themes, which, I'm sure we're going to talk about loads in this video, but it really works spectacularly in this short. And as you're saying, color is so important. The characters are bathed in kind of like an orange and red light when they fight, with white and black streaks kind of cut through the atmosphere at time. And there's a lure of the darkness, as I say, a battle between the dark and the light, and dark is everywhere. And again, it's something that is always a part of Star Wars, with lightsaber blades and the colors that clash, but it's in a wholly unique way.
Yeah, you can tell they're in different worlds. Like with this former Sith, she's painting and she's trying to move on. She's using, a way to balance her way of life. And then with that, there's a really cool moment in there. Like she had like a double blade, it was red and yellow. And it was like a really cool way to show that. I keep saying cool. I'm sorry.
No,
if I
it
did
is
say
cool though. Like,
it's so cool.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's just cool. Like it's that balance. Her blade balances those two colors. It's tackling themes of destiny, that you can be who you want to be, but you don't have to be defined by what's written for you. It's very similar to what you had with Rey in The Rise of Skywalker. She doesn't have to be defined by her lineage, by being a Palpatine, and you can express yourself however you want. And this is what the character in this is learning. Don't shy away from the dark. You can use it as part of a way to express yourself, whether it be in a fight or through the painting. And like so many of these shorts, there is hope in everyone's future, and it all kind of comes together to make this like character journey, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool character journey, as you said. You are following her, and the Sith is like, you're a master now, like you're a Sith master. And then she takes that as like, I'm a master now, but not in a way of the dark, but this is my fate, I'm in control of it now, and she's on her path. I really like that. I thought that was a really good episode. Yeah, the animation was just so cool. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it was just very nice, and it was just refreshing. I mean, each episode had amazing animation, but yeah, I gotta say this animation was pretty cool.
Absolutely. Next one is Screech's Reach from Cartoon Saloon from Ireland, and I was really excited for this one because I watched Wolfwalkers a couple years ago, which is what they did. That movie was so sublime. I think it's on Apple TV. It is just magical. It might have even made my top 10 of that year.
It is
just absolutely incredible. So this one was really exciting for me. What do you think of Screech's Reach?
Screech's Reach, that was a really interesting, it had a horror element into it, which that was very different, in Star Wars, because, Star Wars, it's just chaos. It's just like, you got every character in place.
It's true.
Yeah. But what they did here, they brought that horror element of this ghost, but this ghost turned out to be a Sith Lord. That was really scary. Oh my God, that sound design, when she comes out of nowhere and she just screams, and it's like, wow, yeah, that's scary. I really like, they brought the horror aspect of like, oh, we're trying to find a ghost, and, the ghost is a Sith Lord. Like, that's just scary. Again, the animation really reflected that as well. Like, it's dark, but there's a wholesome vibe to it between, the other characters. They're trying to live in the galaxy, trying to do something, but they're trapped. But then at the end, the main character, oh, that's a great plot twist, by the way. Like, she realized that this whole thing, she had this not bracelet, but like this communication device. She had this whole time. Yeah. And then she was talking to this other Sith. Is it a Sith? I mean, the red.
Some sort of dark side creature.
Yeah, it must be something like that. But that was a pretty good plot twist. She's been tested in a way of like, she's strong, but she's using fear as a way of doing that, because fear was, used a lot in, Star Wars for the Imperials, especially in Andor. Fear was used that.
There's a lot of episodes that I thought really drew strong parallels to Andor. Not necessarily this one, but definitely kind of like further on. But I know what you mean. There's a spin on those classic Star Wars themes of leaving everything behind and taking hold of your future, because it's not always pretty. Whether your life is better or not afterwards, it doesn't matter, because what you're leaving behind is always a part of yourself, something you need to let go of. Whether it be Rey learning to leave Jakku and accept that the people who she's waiting for will never come back, or Luke leaving Tatooine knowing that there's nothing there for him anymore because all of his friends are gone and his aunt and uncle have died. Like, it's something you need to let go of, something that might not want to let you go. The final shot of Screech's Reach is of the protagonist's face getting swallowed up by the dark. And there's this feeling that maybe that's it for them. Maybe they did choose the wrong path. Maybe they should have stayed where they were, like their friends.
Yeah.
There's something about the line, I've got it written down here, there are worse lives. And then they say, there are better lives. The idea that, like so many Star Wars stories, you don't have to just sit and take what others want for you, similar to what we were talking about in Sith, or even what's expected for you. There's so much more, and the first step is taking control of your own path, your own destiny, whether or not that is good. And I agree with you that, like, I love all the horror in the episode, and what you're saying about the sound design, that also goes to the music as well, because the music is so simplistic, and it carries this kind of ethereal beauty. I actually listened to the soundtrack, the 2 pieces they released for this short by Leo Pearson, and man, he composed the hell out of it. It's so magical, and it carries hope, but also it reflects a calling, kind of like the calling that the main character feels to go into the stars. And there's something final about it. Like when it plays in the credits, you kind of think that was it. When the character gets swallowed up by the dark, that's it for them. And there is something really kind of difficult about that, and the way it kind of twists those classic themes while also being very faithful to those classic themes.
Yeah, I should have listened to the music afterwards, because the music was just
it was really cool.
Really good, really good. Yeah.
The next one is In the Stars by Punkrobot from Chile.
Oh, this. Yeah.
Ooh, I love this one.
This one was great. It was about these 2 sisters who are trying to fight on this planet, which is completely being controlled by Imperial forces, and they want to fight against them. And man, this had a lot of emotions, a lot of really interesting aspects of life after death, and then turn into stars. The animation was so good in this. It was stop animation, right?
Yeah, it was stop motion.
Stop motion.
I thought it was so beautiful. I just want to say, like, I'd happily watch an entire season of Star Wars TV in this art style. I mean, that goes for all the other art styles in the show too, but I love the tangibility and the textures of the stop motion. It's so unique and magical. And there are 2 other shorts that we'll talk about that also do stop motion. I think those are among some of my favorites, because that's always been one of my favorite animation styles.
Yeah, I just don't know what to say. It was just really nice, and I really liked this arc in this short. Like the mother of the 2 daughters, she was, trying to protect and then trying to bring the Imperial forces down, but she failed, and then everybody else died. But then the arc comes in when the 2 sisters help each other, and they're using the Force. And I really like that they don't imply what the Force is, but they said about, like, in the backstory, it was like, oh, Mother said that we had great strengths. It was explaining that little backstory.
The Force is so many different things, and I love that all these shorts kind of present them in different ways, whether it be through painting or dancing or song, or through just a strength or a feeling that you have. That kind of stuff is great. I love particularly the way the planet of this short presents life and death. The mushrooms kind of shriveling up, and then the star coming in from beneath the clouds. It's a fascinating depiction of a rotting world that's been touched upon, kind of like in comics with Jeddah after Rogue One, and in Andor with Canary. But the idea of a culture trying to survive through things like art and like the painting, like they're using the last of their water to do this little bit painting, and that's heartbreaking. And it's something that Star Wars sometimes is kind of like exploring. And I love the idea of looking at the aftermath of what happens when someone like the Empire come and destroy the civilization, and the fact that everything comes down to water. I thought that was so clever. Not only is access to clean water, it's a struggle that many in our world have to deal with. It's never anything that's really explored in Star Wars, but I think it aligns perfectly with the idea of oppression and the Empire taking even the simplest things that should be available to everyone because they believe they're entitled to all planet's resources. And exploring that in this way, just amazing.
Yeah, I like that, linked back to reality and into Star Wars, and it's like, oh wow, it's making an impact, making us think about the world. I really like that, it's just linking back into reality. Yeah, that's why we like this episode. And I keep forgetting the music. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting, like, the animation was just taking me away. I was like, wow, this is just so incredible. And yeah, this episode was very dark, but it had some light into it, especially the ending. The ending was just like wholesome. It was just like
Yeah.
deserved ending for it, because sometimes there can be some weird endings in stuff, and they don't really explain it or justify the whole arc. But this one was just like very deserved and wholesome. That's what I really like about this. I don't have any criticism for this whole show. I just really loved
No,
it.
me
Yeah.
neither. I agree. Like my only criticism comes from potentially, like the bingingness of it.
The binge
But
watching.
like the
Yeah.
quality itself, like how can you really criticize the way that, these cultures like express what Star Wars means to them? Right, okay, the next one is I Am
Oh
Your
yeah,
Mother.
this is my favorite. This is
Yeah,
my
I
favorite.
think me too. Aardman from United Kingdom.
Oh my
How do
God.
you criticize something so pure, something so delightful? It's just got that classic Aardman charm that it makes me want to revisit Wallace and Gromit. I love it
I think
so
this.
much.
Oh my God, this was such a fun one to watch. It's called I Am Your Mother. Great callback. Oh my God. Okay, before we get into this whole thing, there's one certain character that I was really happy about that he appeared. Better than Amagundai, Tom. I'm gonna say it. Better than Amagundai, okay?
No,
It's better than the
never,
gong droid
never.
in this entire thing. It's the robot from Wallace and Gromit from the Grand Day Out. It's that robot there. I'm not joking.
What?
He's Wait,
Was
you didn't
that
see
it?
him?
I don't think I saw him.
What?
No way.
Wait, bro, you didn't see him?
Seriously, I don't think so.
He was right in he was right in front of the screen.
Oh my God. This is showing how long it's been since I've watched Wallace and Gromit as
Okay,
well.
no. He's in the 5-minute midpoint
Who's the
now.
robot? Who's the robot? Is there a robot in Grand Day Out? Oh yeah. Oh
I can't
yeah.
believe you
No.
forgot that. I
That is a
can't believe
great
you forgot.
detail.
Oh
It's
my
been
God.
so long. No, see, like I really, really do love this episode. And this actually like is something that I wanted to bring up. All the little details and Easter eggs throughout are just so fun. Like, you've got
Yeah.
Wedge. I love Wedge. We've got like there's like a stand with toy porgs and banthas and blurgs. There's Luke Skywalker merch, and I just love like that
Luke
level of
Skywalker
detail and all
merch.
these just like fun little things in the background, and it's just so good. Of course, who can forget everyone's favorite pilot? I'm a Gundai. That's right, John. You didn't notice him, but he was
No,
there.
you
He's
cannot
not just
bring
a Jedi
I'm a
master. He's
Gundai
also an
when
ace
I
pilot.
just
He
talked
won the
about
race
the robot
with
from
his
Grand Day Out, bro.
I did it. But no, yeah, this story, I just thought it was so great. It has
It was
such
just so funny.
likable and
Yeah.
relatable characters. There's the classic snobby upper class racer and the working class protagonist who's like the underdog. I just loved it so much. It's so simple, but it's also so effective. It's all that Aardman charm. I love it so much. And a pilot story as well. It's so different to everything else in the series, volumes 1 and 2, and it's fantastic to see. And it's executed to perfection. And I want to say that mothers are an important part of stories and an important part of life. They're also vital to Star Wars and its themes, but they're
Yeah.
often pushed aside somewhat. Obviously, you've got Leia, Padme, Shmi, Mon Mothma, but it's often the fathers of the galaxy that get the focus. Anakin, Han, Bale, those people. But it's so great to see a mother-daughter relationship. It's fantastic. Like with this and Andor and Kenobi, it's really, really good to see mothers get more importance and relevance in Star Wars when it classically has been about fathers and sons. I am your father, I am your mother. It's amazing. I think I agree. This is probably my favorite one.
Yeah, and the animation was just so nostalgic,
Yes.
in a way. Yeah, definitely, it makes me want to watch Wallace and Gromit now. I really like the details as well. As you just said, it was just so much going on, but it was just a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh man, you
Um,
just gotta love Aardman. They really
yeah,
do just have something special. They
they
are
do.
fantastic. And yeah, I feel like, as Brits ourselves, as we are literally from United Kingdom, just having something that means so much to us, and the stuff that we've grown up on was,
Yes.
fantastic.
Oh
Like
my
Star
God.
Wars is literally something that I've grown up on. So seeing those two things combined, it's just magical. And yeah, that really just
Yeah.
was like, that was amazing.
Yeah, the two things mixed together, Star Wars and Aardman. That is in a crazy mix, but man,
So cool. I love that
uh,
kind of thing. It's so brilliant. The next one is Journey to the Dark Head from Studio Mir from South Korea.
oh, this is South Korea. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot this is South Korea. Yeah, this was a really interesting one actually because it was explaining about light and dark, and light and dark mirror each other, which is a theme that is echoed across the vast majority of Star Wars. I really liked how that theme was showing that again in a different way because what I really liked this was like a lot of visual storytelling between this Jedi whose master got killed, and the Sith is trying to get the Jedi to come over to the dark side. And there was like two statues that was showing light and dark, but the light and dark colors were mixing with each other, which again echoes the theme of light and dark completely mirroring each other across Star Wars, because no matter what, they will be together, but it will create a war. I really liked this whole story between the mechanic and the Jedi trying to get into this planet, and the story was really good. And the animation,
Oh, yes.
man, oh, that was really cool as well.
This is like the only kind of like straight up anime.
Yeah, straight up anime.
Compared
Yeah.
to last season where a lot of it was, anime. And
Yeah.
I really, really love that kind of unwavering intensity, the way that it presents and the action and the duels, and they kind of use them alongside emotional moments. Like that is just so well. And the way that the lightsaber blades move and the way the faces are filled with pain, like during the impactful moments, it's all part of like the charm that makes so many fall in love with anime. But obviously this time with like all that Star Wars. And yeah, I think the representation of prophecy and the future through these stones, seeing things from the past and the future and being able to reconcile it in the moment, in the here and now, like damn, that's so cool. Again, it's something that's always been a part of Star Wars, seeing the future, seeing visions, hurt visions, not being able to understand them. Whoa! But like here it's like directly tied to the growth of the characters. It reminded me of Suzume, which I can't wait to talk about. We're going to talk about that later on this year, and I loved that feeling in the episode. Yeah. And the words from the Jedi at the end of the episode, which I've written down: nothing is fixed. There will always be light and dark. There is always hope. And it speaks to the enduring nature of Star Wars. The Sith, the Jedi, the Republic, the Empire, the New Republic, the First Order. All of it is an ongoing struggle, an ongoing war. No chosen one is going to change it, and not every conflict has huge galactic stakes. The Jedi also says, I actually really needed this mission, and so did you. And I love the reflection of character being the core of what's important about these stories, whether or not like the war ends, whether or not the victory lasts, another war emerges. It's part of the way of life. The Empire might be defeated in Return of the Jedi, but it doesn't mean something else won't return. Like, life doesn't just stop. It's not just a happy ending. There's always something else that happens and can challenge the characters. And the struggle to therefore get back up is something that I think is, again, it's also Star Wars.
Yeah, it's so Star Wars, especially this entire season, or these two seasons, proved that animation can be superior to actual films, which is amazing in terms of like, how much creativity that goes into it, and, how the stories are drawn in a certain way, and they have the power to tell short stories. This is like 18 minutes or 12 minutes or each episode in this, and they have the power to tell stories in a short amount of time, but it gives you an impact, which I really liked. These have the power, and these studios have different interpretations, and that's the power of it, really. With animation, it's really cool, especially Journey to the Dark Head.
Yeah, you're so right. And that brings on to the next one, the Spy Dancer from Studio La Cachette from France. And it's like dance, right? Like this season of Visions is just so great in what you're saying. It explores Star Wars in so many different forms of art, not just through animations, but through like the content. Like as I was saying earlier, Sith exploring painting, or this exploring dance, or Ayu's song exploring song. It's things that play large parts in our own lives and in our own world, but are also like surprisingly small parts of Star Wars. And seeing it like here is so interesting.
Yeah, especially the Spy Dancer. This one was really I keep saying really. I don't know how to say else.
Extremely
cool. Yeah, this one focusing on dancer and an imperial cabaret, and this one I didn't expect having an emotional beat into this. It had a lot of that, and I thought, I gotta say, the voice acting in Journey to Dark Head, the Spy Dancer, well, the other ones was just so good, but these one left an impact on me because the voice acting was just so so good. These ones had excellent voice acting. The Spy Dancer, especially, because, you know, it was just so natural in a way, and it really reflected those emotional moments in that. And they brought in, you know, with the accents, because I thought, you know, they weren't shy, you know, to bring in their culture or the voice acting, which was so cool. Like with Screech's Reach, you know, he was Irish in the Stars, Chile, and then the Spy Dancer was French, and then Banter to Golek was Indian, and it was just so cool, you know, to see something that they weren't shy away. And the animation, oh my god, this one's just so good as well. We will never shut up about the animation, of course, but
It is
it was
so
just it
cool.
was so smooth. It was just so
Mm.
beautiful, you know, to see the, you know, the animation, her dancing across the whole room. Yes, and you know, you can see the different color schemes, and it just completely changed in the second half, which I really liked as well.
Like I agree with all that. You know, I'm studying drama and film at I mean, second time I've mentioned my university course today, but seeing
Hey
this level
guys,
of
come to my university.
Hey
We got all
guys,
these
come to the
courses.
university. Yeah.
Did you
But
know
like
we had
seeing
these courses?
I'm actually an ambassador at my university. I have to do that. I have to be like, hey guys, so you want to take the horror film module? Like, yeah. But seeing this level of performance art, the exact kind of thing that I'm kind of studying, this dance in the air with the sweeping cloth and it's bathed in blue light, it's magical. You know, we saw the squid opera in Revenge of the Sith, but that was from the
Oh
perspective of the
yeah, the
audience.
squid
And
opera.
yeah, and you know, like performance art is something that we don't see a whole lot in Star Wars, you know,
Yeah, we
and
don't.
this time we're seeing it from the perspective of the performance itself and the toll it can take just to dance for the Empire, to dance for people they so intrinsically disagree with. And just
Yeah.
like I Am Your Mother, we're looking at the perspective of a mother and child relationship, which again, so refreshingly amazing. And we're also seeing the impact of imperial oppression, just like in The Stars. It's blending both of these themes and exploring how a mother fights back and how different kinds of culture are appropriated and twisted by the Empire, and how the innocents are forced to fight back for their freedom. After Andor, it feels so perfect, and I like that it's a great evolution of those themes done with, you know, more of that Star Wars kind of pulpiness.
The visual storytelling in this episode was just so emotional, with the plot twist, which is the Imperial guy who has the eye patch was the dancer's son, which was taken by the Empire. And I thought that was a really strong visual clue. And it was like, again, this message across, you know, parents and mothers and fathers about, you know, Star Wars. Mothers are so important and a key figure in that. So I thought that was a good way, you know, to reflect that. Yeah, and it was really good. I really liked that.
Yeah, no, that reveal at the end that he has cut off his horns or they've kind of been snapped off him or something, you can see like the remnants of where they were, and you can pretty much figure out that behind his eye patch is his other coloured eye, just like his mum's. And that kind of final shot of him alone on the bridge of the Star Destroyer with that one glimmer of hope, the tracking beacon that flashes just in the dark before the credits roll. It fills you with hope. It fills the story of hope, and it really is fantastic. The next one is The Bandits of Golak from 88 Pictures in India.
Oh, yeah. Again, this is great. I really like this as well. And it had an Indian atmosphere, and I really liked, again, they weren't shy away from the voice acting, so you had like their interpretation of, you know, the Star Wars world, and it was just really cool to see that in this culture. And it really was so reminiscent of the Clone Wars, which is a really good one, a good way. It was just so detailed.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. I was going to say that, you know, it reminded me of that Clone Wars, Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi style, but
Yeah.
it's infused with all these levels of Indian culture through the look of kind of Golak's landscape, the aesthetics of the train, the kinds of food that they eat, and the design of the characters and their costumes. It's incredibly evocative of Bollywood, and having read some articles with the creators, that's exactly what they were going for. And those design choices paired with this almost kind of cel-shaded animation was excellent.
Yeah, it was just so heavily reminiscent of that, and I really liked that. And the voice acting was so strong in this one, especially the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor, yeah.
Love that guy.
Yeah, the Inquisitor loves to pop up anywhere. I mean, there's so many Inquisitors in Star Wars, I can't even count.
There's the Grand Inquisitor, the second sister, the third sister, the
no.
fourth brother, the fifth brother, the sixth brother, the seventh sister. I think I can't.
Why is it in odd numbers?
I don't know. It just is. There's no equivalent numbers for brothers and sisters, so it seems like they're counting up from the Grand Inquisitor. Some are brothers and some are sisters, but they're all kind of counting up.
I see.
One by one. Yeah.
Yeah, the story was pretty strong in this one as well. It was like following this girl who has the power of the Force, and she doesn't realize about the consequences of using the Force, which is a theme that is not really explored a lot in Star Wars. You know, like you got this power of the Force, but you don't know the consequence of it. Like you don't even know you're a Jedi, or you got this power. How is that going to take effect in this completely different society that is filled, with Imperials? And I thought that's a really interesting concept they brought in with that.
I think so many characters have the ability to use the Force, and it's not commonly something, unless you're an established Jedi, that is a fear of hiding it. And I really liked that they kind of take that and they lean into that so much. And I agree. The standout of the episode is the Inquisitor. He's unlike any other that we've seen, and he's influenced by Indian mythology, particularly the figure of the Asura demons.
Oh,
and that's like how they've kind of like reflected this design. And I think he just generally feels so menacing, and he holds such a presence. All the shorts have great and menacing antagonists, but I think this one is a huge standout. Like when all of like the food is flying everywhere and everyone's kind of caught in this storm, and he's just walking through them all. Just like so cool. You can't beat an Inquisitor.
Unless you're that old woman. Yeah, she so badass. Like she has the stick. Is it just a walking? I just call it a walking stick.
Walking stick, but it's also 2 lightsabers.
Awesome. It was so cool. I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, so cool. I have nothing else to say. I don't have any criticism, which is so like not me. I'm just like
no,
hey,
but that's, as I said earlier, they all are so good.
They are so good.
Like I'm happy that they're all so good. I really hope we just continue to have seasons of Visions where there is nothing bad to say and you just enjoy it. Final note on this one, like the ending, quite a few of the shorts deal with the prospect of going out on your own, taking the steps towards your future independently, as we spoke about with Screech's Reach. And there's a difficulty with leaving what you know and seeing the brother and sister depart after relying on each other to survive so heavily. It's heartbreaking, but also there's a level of hope knowing they'll be okay. It's less dark than Screech's Reach. And I'd say like the final line of the classic "May the Force be with you" is perfectly in line with that hope. There are a couple of times when in the shorts you get those classic, you've got the classic "I have a bad feeling about this," and then here "May the Force be with you." It really works, and it really kind of heightens those emotions.
Yeah, just completely reflects Star Wars in a way, and it's so cool. Yeah.
The penultimate one is The Pit from Dart Shato from Japan and Lucasfilm Limited from the US. So this is like the only one that Lucasfilm is actually fully involved with.
Hey guys, it's me. I created this whole thing, so let me be.
They have like a fake mustache on. They're like, yes, I am Animation Studio.
Just yeah, yeah, The Pit. Okay, first of all, the animation was just so reminiscent because you can see different animation styles, which is really cool in a whole anime. But The Pit was just so reminiscent of an anime show called Samurai Champloo, which had this chill kind of vibe. There's something, dark about it, but no, it's just like a really nice piece of animation that they did. But the animation studio who did those got bankrupt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I wonder if they still. Oh no, they're not. But
that's
yeah, this one,
depressing.
the Pit had that. The Pit had like that style. Yeah, I was like, hey, this brings back. The animation studio did Cowboy Bebop as well. But anyway,
cool.
yeah, this one had a really cool. Well, it's a really sad concept, really. It's like, where do the workers go when the Empire's done something like
the Empire quite literally throws them in a hole. There's this horrible idea in Andor about prisoners building the very thing that will not only lead to the deaths of the people like Cassian, but of the oppressed all over the galaxy, the Death Star, right? And I feel like this short takes it to the next level in that these prisoners are digging the very pit that traps them and keeps them away from the surface. And we see that as the Empire builds their settlement, the prisoners go deeper and are eventually cut off entirely. Those within, they kind of become lost in a mad scramble for freedom at first, before that kind of devolves into just hopelessness entirely.
Yeah, I really like the whole message, like there's light and darkness, you just look for the light. It's such a scary concept that because you've been working for days or maybe months on this hole, and then they're looking for the kyber crystals, and oh no, I think I'm about to sneeze. Oh no. Yeah, okay. I hate these sneezes. Wait. I'll keep talking as I just Stop! Okay. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah. So yeah, it's a scary concept, and they thought they were free, but no, they were just like celebrating, like yay,
we did it, and then no,
we did it, yeah. Oh, But man, yeah, I thought this was a pretty strong episode as well.
It
Yeah.
reminded me of many kind of Holocaust films, the hopelessness of being trapped and knowing that there's not really anywhere to go but death, and working for your oppressors with no choice. And this, like, many of the characters have a struggle inside the pit of remaining hope. Some of them just want to stay inside and accept their fate, and they're fearful that no one will care enough to help them if they ever got to the top. And there's the idea of this one person who remains hopeful, who looks towards the light even when it seems darkest. That is so very Star Wars, and I love it. You know, you always need somebody, as long as one person still believes, then that is enough. Like, Luke has lost all hope in The Last Jedi, but Rey believes in him, and as long as she believes, there is still a chance that he can come back and, you know, regain his hope, and he does. I did love the Dark Knight Rises parallels in this episode. As a
Oh,
huge fan of
yeah.
that movie,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
the pit itself and the concept of climbing it, top notch. You know, like you have merely adopted the dark. I was born in it. I
was
love that
born in
movie.
it.
I'm
Yes.
rewatching Christopher Nolan's movies like at the moment.
Hey.
I'm getting close to the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm so excited for that. But to draw another comparison to that trilogy in this episode, we fall so we can learn to pick ourselves up, and that is so good. And I'll
By
tell you
the
what,
way,
when the
do you know what we
Nice.
do when we pick up? I messed it up. I messed it up.
No.
Wait,
Do you
wait,
know what we
my-
do when we it made me like when the main character of this episode was climbing, I was just hearing the
Just wait.
chant from Dark Knight Rises, the kind of Masala, Masala, like just so good.
Anyway, what we talking? Oh yeah, the light and darkness. Pick ourselves up. Yeah, that's what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. Seeing a society also kind of built on the labor and oppression of these prisoners, a society who don't like see or really care enough to see the plight of others until they're literally yelling in their face. Again, parallels of Andor and the idea that nobody's listening. You know, and in this short, it feels like nobody is. Like when the protagonist is thrown back into the hole, it feels like there is just no hope. And that's so easy to believe if everyone gives into the darkness. But again, one little girl remembers they need to follow the light and never give up, because people like the Empire, to quote The Rise of Skywalker, they win because they make you feel like you're alone. And you're never alone as long as hope exists, as long as the light exists. That moment where they all chant and everyone hears them and they call, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, so good in this one. And then last but not least,
yes, this is Awu's song by Triggerfish from South Africa. Oh boy, this episode, like so many of them, just it's the epitome of beauty. Like the characters are made of like what looks like felt, and there's this immaculately crafted practical set with vast mountains and cliff faces and this little home and the whole community with canopies and tree trunks holding up structures. It's all so gorgeous. As I said earlier, the stop motion episodes in this show really blew me away, and this is no different.
Oh, it's so cool. It's just so wholesome, and you get to see that whole village in this whole thing. And wow, yeah, I'm just like looking through. It's just like so cool, and it's just so wholesome. The animation, as you said,
it reminded me of like In the Night Garden. You know, for those British viewers, just that kind of like really wholesome vibe.
And there's like massive, like, well, not dog creatures, but like dogs that are like bears. I mean, dogs are bears in a way, but like
dogs are bears. It's true.
That's gonna sound out of context.
If you take one thing away from this episode, dogs are bears.
But no, this is just really wholesome, and I really like the whole overall message of it. You know, it's courage. She's trying to seek courage in this whole thing, and her father's like, you know, very worried about she doesn't have that ability, and it's just so cool. Like she tries to find a voice in this whole thing, and it's just so cool.
Yeah, there are so many kind of like wide shots that depict the huge landscape, the mountains that stretch into the distance and are full of greenery and intricate shapes. And not only is it beautiful, but seeing Awu as such a small creature against this huge world is just a simple way of presenting that kind of longing for something different. This call that she has to sing and to heal the Khyber. And just like I said, you know, with painting and dance in these shorts, this one looks at the power of song. And I think that's interesting because music is maybe the biggest factor in what makes Star Wars work. Like, you know, John Williams' score and, you know, like even in-universe songs like the Mos Eisley Cantina song, which is canonically called... Yes, John.
Thank you.
I think it's canonically called Crazy About You, which I think is hilarious. But seeing someone who uses their voice, who uses music to heal and to calm the violent nature that surrounds them. Au sings and everything is connected through her song, and through it she can calm the world. And like you said earlier, it's another take on the force and of hope and the things, the arts that can bring peace and joy. Like, damn, this show is so good, and I just want 1,000 seasons forever from every single animation company around the world. It's so special, and its presentation of Star Wars and its values are just immaculate.
Yeah, it explores like different aspects of like, we got dance, we got as you just said like earlier, like with music, it's just so important. This episode was wholesome. Oh my god. Oh
It really
my god, I
was.
love it.
And I have an email here from Samuel Masson, yet again, the man himself.
It's Sam. It's
once
again.
more, and he says, "Hello, Tom. Hello, John. How are you both? Star Wars
I'm
Visions
good.
Volume 2 was an absolutely beautiful series, delivering with each episode. I thought Volume 1 was good, but a couple episodes missed for me. However, with Series 2, every episode hit the right notes, be that from
Oh,
lessons,
yeah.
action, music, and emotion. In Sith, we learn that the past has happened, and we can't change it as much as we may want to. Rather, we accept it and let it shape who we are today, to become stronger and move forward. The sounds in Screech's Reach were amazing, and little screeching from the ghost sent chills down my spine. I'm Your Mother was made by Aardman, and as usual with their projects, the animation and storytelling was amazing. Journey to the Dark Head had some brilliant lightsaber action. The animators clearly did research into lightsaber movements and forms. Bit of a silly one,
Hey,
but in
yeah.
Spy Dancer, it was fun to see stormtroopers having time off. The Bandits of Golak had some amazing culture woven into it, which was awesome to see all the other animations take influence from the culture of their respective studios/countries. And there was some unrecognizable aliens in there too. Shame there was no Celestians though. And the picture is how cruel the Empire can be. What I loved about this series is that the creators were able to run wild, but still tell the story they wanted to tell. This series isn't canon, but would more fit into Legends, and I think that's what makes the series work. No disrespect to any of the creators, but these stories felt like a playbox. Stories you'd come up with as a kid with your action figures, but so carefully refined. That's where the beauty of this show lies. So my question to you guys is this. Are you guys familiar with Legends? The series isn't weighed down by canon. Do you think we could see Legends stories adapted in some way, like Death Troopers and Project Blackwing? Interested to hear your thoughts. Many thanks once again, guys. Keep up the awesome sauciness. Take care, Sam. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
As always, what do you think, John?
Tom.
Yeah.
I have
Yes,
no
John.
idea. I forgot what Legends was. I'm so sorry, Sam. I should know this, but
It's okay. We know that I'm the Star Wars expert on the pod, and Legends
Okay,
basically
Tom,
Legends
remind
are
me.
all of like the books and comics and games and shows apart from the Clone Wars and the first 6 movies from 1977 all the way to
no,
when
that's
Disney
Star
bought
Wars
Star Wars.
Vintage.
Yes, right. So some of the Star Wars vintage stuff in Disney Plus, all the Star Wars vintage stuff, in fact, are all Legends. They're stories that no longer are canon, but were all made during a time when the expanded universe was. So things like, like The Force Unleashed, for example, that video game
Oh, yeah.
is Legends. So while now everything that comes out is canon, everything takes place in the story, everything matters, things weave into each other. Disney basically scrapped everything when they bought Lucasfilm so they could have a clean slate, which I think was a good idea because there was a lot in Legends. But I think Sam's question is interesting because I think a lot of these stories would fit into canon. I think the idea
Oh,
of
yeah.
like seeing all these different cultures and planets being oppressed by the Empire and seeing all these different corners and different people rise up, that does kind of feel very Star Wars. And I wish it was canon in a way, because that I think would fit really nicely when you see stuff like Rebels and like all the different planets that are fighting, and like things like Andor where some planets lose and some win, and these fit really nicely even though some of the details aren't exactly canon. But I do think they do work really nicely. I don't know what Legends we could see, but as Sam says, the best part about this show is that it doesn't have to be constrained by canon or Legends, so it really
Oh,
could
yeah.
go anywhere. I think it would be
could.
funny to see Luke, which is Luke spelt with 2 U's, who is the clone of Luke from the Dark Empire trilogy, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe it's the Heirs of the Empire trilogy. Oh, my dog is barking. And I just love the idea that something that stupid could come into Star Wars Visions.
Yeah, man. I don't know what Star Wars Legends is, Sam. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry,
What?
John. It's only roughly 30 years of reading. You can do it in an afternoon.
What? Okay. I'm not gonna make it in time. It's like watching 1,000 episodes of One Piece, which takes about
Is that how long One Piece is?
It's 1,000 episodes.
What? That's insane. That is
That's-
insane.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. To finish, 2 questions. First of all, what are you going to give Visions out of 10? And second of all, we've probably already answered this, but what was your favorite short?
My favorite short.
Yes.
I'm just gonna go with this anyway. I'm your mother. Well,
Yeah.
no, I'm not. But
You're my mother?
oh my god!
What? It's a revelation. This whole
um,
time, you have been my mother.
I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree with that. Again, my only criticism is that I wish it wasn't binged, but at the end of the day, all the actual content is just fantastic. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening. A bit of a longer episode this week, but if you liked it, you can give us a like and subscribe if you want to see more if you're listening on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify, you can follow and give us a 5-star review if you think we're worthy. Next week, we're doing Fast X, which is going to be hopefully really cool. We got some really cool news about who's going to be in it literally this morning. I won't say it just in case people are trying to avoid spoilers, but wow, that is going to be cool. I would really like to enjoy a Fast and Furious movie again. It's been a while since we've had a really good one. I mean, I liked 9, but anyway, that'll be next week, and you can send us an email at ourtimefilmpod@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on Fast X and ask us any questions, and we'll answer it right here on the podcast next week. And you can follow us on Instagram at OurTimeFilmPod to see our incredible thumbnails from Zain Afzal, and on Twitter for more thoughts from me. Thanks to Jones-Meyer for the excellent theme, and Ronan Phillips to vocals as always, and I think that's everything.
Yeah, that's everything. Thank you, Sam, for the email.
Yes.
Yeah, take what you're given.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.